Valkyrie Profile 2's story isn't centered around Lenneth Valkyrie this time around. Instead, you play the role of a human princess named Alicia. At first you would think that it would make more sense for the titular Silmeria to play the role of protagonist. However, this isn't the case, and by the time you reach the end of the game, you will soon come to understand why Alicia is the protagonist, as she is essentially the character that you, the player, are going to connect with the most. On top of this, her entire character is the core that links everything together, making her an important character. Before I go into detail on later events, I feel that I should give a brief summary of Alicia's backstory and the events leading up to the climax of the emotional rollercoaster that is Valkyrie Profile 2. Despite Odin's attempts to reincarnate Silmeria into a human to punish her for her rebellious intent, the transmigration failed, and Silmeria remained conscious within the human body of Alicia, who Silmeria was originally supposed to be. Silmeria did not stay dormant, however. Her desire to get revenge against Odin for his misdeeds caused her to take an assertive position over Alicia at times, and it is implied that Silmeria's commanding presence was a threat to the royal family's authority. Because of this, Alicia was forcibly exiled by her parents, and lived a life in solitude for many years. Silmeria continued to assert an authority over Alicia's consciousness, leaving Alicia completely helpless, essentially making Alicia a slave to Silmeria. Silmeria was eventually found by Hrist, and therefore Alicia is forced into dangerous situations against her will in order to prevent Hrist from killing her and releasing Silmeria's soul to be brought back to Asgard. Alicia spends the entire first half of the game doing Silmeria's bidding, and this leads her on a hunt for the Dragon Orb, which is where Chapter 3 takes place. At the end of Chapter 3, it is revealed that Hrist Valkyrie was masquerading as Leone, and after stealing the Dragon Orb from Alicia, it is presumed that she will launch an attack on Dipan due to her earlier threats. In Chapter 4, the group arrives in Dipan to confront Hrist, but unfortunately, they arrive at a timely moment where Hrist is just about to execute the leader of Dipan's people, King Barbarossa, in front of all of his subjects in order to make an example of what befalls those who oppose the gods. Despite having sent Ull to keep Alicia from witnessing her father's death, Alicia arrives to stop her anyway, but before she can do anything, Hrist gives Arngrim the order to activate the guillotine, causing Alicia to witness her father's decapitation. To make matters worse, the three mages who were assisting Hrist in the execution out of fear take ghoul powder in order to prevent Hrist taking them as Einherjar. This includes Alicia's childhood friend Dallas, who is forced to drink ghoul powder against his will by Walther. After consuming the ghoul powder, the other two mages leave, but Dallas stays behind, telling Alicia that her father, whom she was exiled from at an early age due to her ties to Silmeria, was trying to separate Alicia from Silmeria using unlawful methods in order to make Alicia free from Silmeria's control so that Alicia could live as a complete person. Dallas also revealed that the king had to sacrifice many lives in order to do so, and that his love for his daughter was his motivation for doing it. Immediately after this revelation, Dallas begins spazzing out in front of Alicia due to the effects of the ghoul powder, as Alicia is forced to watch as her childhood friend loses his mind and becomes a demon. Dylan, who is possessed by Bram's soul at the time, forces Dallas to flee, leaving Alicia to mourn not only one, but two brutal deaths of people she cared for. This immediately causes her to search for her mother, the last person Alicia cares for, who stayed in the castle during the attack. Unfortunately for Alicia, however, the Queen's grief over the loss of her husband caused her to take her own life. After one of the guards reveals this information to Alicia, Hrist appears and tells Alicia that she would have killed her mother anyway, causing an enraged Alicia to attack Hrist. It is then that a pivotal point in the game's story occurs where Alicia and Silmeria are forcibly separated. Bram's soul manifests from within Dylan to try and prevent this from happening, but is captured by Freya. Lazard also disappears, leaving Alicia and Rufus in the ruins of a fallen kingdom. It is at this point that Rufus decides that he is going to go to Yggdrasil in order to obtain the power of the gods to fight Odin and save Midgard. So Alicia has not only lost her family and friends, but she has also lost the person who ruled her entire life. This essentially puts Alicia in a state of desperation. Having lost everything that mattered to her, and with nobody to lead her, Alicia pleads with Rufus to bring her along. Rufus refuses, stating that humans cannot reach Yggdrasil, but Alicia insists, and Rufus decides to take her as far as she can go. This is a pivotal point in Alicia's character. It is important to understand that Silmeria's dominance over Alicia has essentially removed Alicia's ability to act for herself. She has grown too used to relying on other people as a result, and this is why she chooses to go with Rufus. Not because she wants to save the world, but because without someone to lead her, she would become as helpless as a dog abandoned by its owner. Alicia is now in a position that she has never been in. Now sure, many of us face the daunting task of having to choose which direction to take our lives in. But this is an extremely difficult task for Alicia in particular, considering the fact that she has literally zero independence. This is the core of Alicia's character, and is ultimately what leads to what would be her biggest challenge, the events of Chapter 5.